Welcome back to the Star Monroe Show. This is episode 8 of a mini series inside my podcast called The Wild Love Affair 12 Intimate Conversations on Coming Home to Who You Really Are through embodiment, devotional living, and deeper intimacy. If you're just joining me today, welcome. I'm so honored that you are here. And if you haven't yet listened or watched, because these podcasts are both on my podcast and on my YouTube channel at Ms. Star Monroe, I would invite you to go back and take your time and go through the previous 7 episodes, because I have really dived deep into why high achieving women like us become really disconnected from our bodies, our wisdom, our rhythm, and why the life we spent all this time building, we look around and we're like, oh, I feel like I've outgrown it, or it doesn't fit anymore. And so I really dived into that, and I talked about my methodology that underpins all my work, which is 5 portals bringing you back home to you. It's a spiral methodology, which means that you don't just get to do it once. It doesn't tend to work in a linear fashion. I don't care how much your ego will protest. But there is this spiral reclamation of who we are. And it happens when we're ready, when our bodies are ready. And it means that there are always deeper layers to release, to come back to, because we're releasing conditioning, beliefs, generational lineage, all kind of things that we've picked up over the years that have clogged our soul, our genius that sits within our DNA. And so the 5 portals that I talked about in previous episodes are rupture, recognition, the rewrite, the realignment, the reclamation. I'm always testing my brain and my memory when I'm recalling that methodology. And my work specifically is for the smart, self-aware, successful woman who's probably outgrown her therapist, definitely outgrown self-help, and is looking around going, you're disconnected. You know you are, because it's filtering and rippling out into your day-to-day life. And how do you know that? Well, your choices aren't going to be aligned with your soul. You could be, I use me as an example a couple of years ago. You could be picking that glass of wine up every single night, so you just avoid intimacy with your partner, or you don't want to have that deeper conversation. You could be dating men you don't really respect. You could be working really hard, taking on clients that you know are not for you. You could be hooked on external markers of success, the money, the kudos, the recognition. Right? You know. And it's like, I get it. Like, I've been here with all of this, right? I've been here with all of this. And it really can sweep you up. It sweeps you up. It's a real seductive pull into living aligned with external markers. And there's a cost to that. You're going to lose yourself. You're going to lose this connection with the most important person in the whole darn world. It's yourself. And this work that I'm here to guide you into, it's here to guide you back into your body, your rhythm, your wisdom. I was just writing a quote down a minute ago, and it was like, the most important relationship you're ever going to have is the one with yourself. And everything in your life reflects how deeply embodied you are with that. And again, like, no shade at all. I talk from high experience here. And one of the things that I think I'll talk about it I think it's the next podcast. I'll share a little bit more of this story. But one of the ways that I really see this work rippling out into my life is that I've been able to take an extended period of rest this year. I shut down a business that didn't work for me. I walked away from the money. I walked away from the success, the external success. And because of that, I have a way deeper relationship with myself. I really deeply trust myself and my intuition. And I can sit with the unknown, which is what's going to happen when you walk your path, when you come back home to who you are, because there is no path. If you're following a path, it's somebody else's. We need that capacity to be able to sit with all the unknown, the uncomfortability, and find the pleasure in that. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about more of that in the next episode. And other ways that I can see how this is rippling out into my life is my relationship with my adult son is different. It's way easier. We're able to converse. We're closer. And, this is from my adult son who didn't talk to me for a couple of years. And I put up all these walls. So I really didn't know what to do. So I put up all my defenses. And the other way as well is we have 4 kittens that my son rescued when they were 2 days old. And just this relationship with these kittens in the house, it's just so loving. It's just like, I was sitting with the kittens this morning. I was just like crying because I was like, oh my God, they're just so loving, and it's just feeling this love and allowing ourselves to feel this love. And the thing is, if you're disconnected from yourself, you're disconnected from your life, you're disconnected from your rhythm, your body, what's going to be really hard is you're going to put your defenses up and you're going to find it really hard to receive the intimacy that you crave, the deeper, more meaningful connections that you want. So you end up just kind of spiraling into doing more of what you're doing, but it doesn't work. It leaves you feeling empty and flatlined, and you're here to live. You're here to feel fully alive, radiant, just like, just seduced by life. And you're seduced by life because you're seducing life. Things happen to you because you're doing it. So this, I think it all leads into where I'm going, because I'm going to be talking about discipline and devotion today. And I want to preempt this by saying there's no shade to discipline. And then I'll read you my notes that I wrote, because I've used discipline a lot in my life. I've rebuilt my life from nothing. I was a cocaine addict for 7 years. I was an alcoholic on and off for many years. I taught myself how not to be an alcoholic in 2015, but I kept drinking on and off until a couple of years ago. I've had toxic relationships with my body, with men, with money. I spent all my money and went bankrupt and lived on the breadline for many years. I was an addict when my son was younger. So I have been picking up the pieces of who I am for many, many years. I'm not there anymore. And I have used discipline as a way to get me to where I needed to go. Underneath discipline is this notion. For me, I always research words. Words are spells, and you want to understand the connotations, the energetic frequency of the word. So discipline, to me, when I looked at one of the root meanings of it, it meant to teach. So for a long period of my time, I was teaching myself how to not be an addict, how to not drink, how to not have toxic relationships, how to have a more secure attachment style, how to not lose my cool, how to not have my defenses up. So I was teaching myself this. I remember having a session with my therapist at the beginning of the year, and she said, she was talking to me, she goes, you've had to do like double the amount of work from a lot of people, because you've had to pick yourself up from being an addict. So there was this whole teaching scope where I've picked myself up to kind of come back into a balanced place with myself. And it's only after in the last few years, probably since I've been living here in Turkey, where I've really looked at myself and have gone, do you know what? I believe in you. I know that you can do anything you set your mind to. I trust you. Like, I'm really here to be the most beautiful version of myself. Can we take a moment with that? I normally say best version, but it's not. I'm here to be the most beautiful version of myself. And so for me, it's not like I'm not trying to overcome survival or anything like that. It's just I'm here to be the most beautiful version of myself. So for me, where I am, I've outgrown discipline. I've outgrown discipline. And something deeper was calling me, because as I uttered these words over the last couple of years, it's like, oh, I'm here to be the most beautiful version of myself. Because actually I want to stay with this, because if I say I want to be the best version of myself, do you know who comes on board? My ego. My ego's like, yeah, come on, let's be the best. Come on. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's hustle. I don't know why it's got a crazy American accent, my ego. But it's like, no, it's the most beautiful, nourishing, thriving, blooming, like, radiant version of myself. And then my soul goes, yeah, bitch. Yes, I've been calling you home since. Do you remember me talking to you when you were 11? I'd be like, not really. Do you remember me talking to you when you were 25, when you were 16? I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I do remember you talking to me. Do you remember me talking to you when you were 33 and you were knee deep in that cocaine addiction and you were locked in the cupboard because you were paranoid because you'd taken too much cocaine? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember you calling me home. Do you remember when you were on your knees on your third nervous breakdown and I said to you, you will find your way home? Oh, yeah. See, this calling home, it's in you. I know you know it's in you. It's a whisper, it's a knowing, it's a feeling. I'm here to guide you back to that because I have walked it. I've walked it and I continue to walk it, because again, that ego part of us wants to go, oh, well, I get there and that's it. No, that's why my methodology is spiral. That's why I love this methodology of mine. Because I love my work because like when something else is going to come up, because it invariably will, it'll be a rupture. It'll be like, oh, is this it? Or should I be doing this? It'll be like, now we need to look through it through through the lens of that method. And if you're intrigued in my method, then the place for you to start, and also I would really, is it urge? Yeah, let's use the word urge, Star. Urge you, if you're ready to come in to work with me, either private mentorship or the School of Devotional Living. We start in September. Start with my book. Start with the podcasts and then go on to my book, which is called My Wild Love Affair by Star Monroe. You're going to find it on Amazon, Kindle, paperback, hardback. Check me out with that sales segue in the middle of my podcast. Oh, yeah, check me out. Anyway, get back on track, Star. So it's like start with that really, because the women that come into my world, and I've worked with thousands upon thousands of women over the years, and the ones that fly like soar with my work are the ones that really deeply resonate with my work and not the image of me that they've projected into the universe, right? So it's like my wisdom is what gets you excited. I was going to say what gets you wet, but whatever, horses for courses. So there's a line that I'm going to read, and if you're watching me on YouTube, you're going to see my eyes going this way because I'm going to be reading my notes. I'm going to be springboarding from them. Two of the books that I read every single morning, I have a practice. I have a practice of keeping myself on my path. You know, like I've already told you, I've got a history. Like I used to be a wild one. And it's easier for me to stay on my path now, way easier. I live in devotion. I live in devotion. I live from a place of, I want to do this. This is feels like home to me. And I stay on my path, and when I stumble off my path, it's pretty easy for me to get back onto my path because I have all these little practices that are integrated into my life. They're not a checklist. It's my lifestyle. So when I wake up in the morning, first thing I do after I've done all my brush my teeth and stuff is I say hello to the kittens, make myself a cup of coffee, then I sit outside and I journal. And I read a passage from these two books, The Gene Keys and the I Ching. Why do I read those books? Because a couple of years ago, I was really, really heavily interested in human design. I'm a 3/6 projector. And I wanted to understand where human design got its wisdom from, because I want to understand the roots underneath something. And that's why I'm a good person to work with, because I'm always looking underneath. We root to the problem. You probably think the symptoms are the problem. They're not. The symptoms are not the problem. Drinking the wine in the evening is not the problem. Having your defences up is not the problem. Avoiding the conversations, avoiding the intimacy is not the problem. There's a deeper problem. They're the symptoms. Right. Anyway, let me go back to human design. So I was like, yeah, well, how's this all work, and why does it work like it does? And when I did all my research, spent a year doing all this research, I realised it was built upon the Gene Keys and the I Ching. And the I Ching and the Gene Keys really are guiding you back to being more mature, living from your highest self, realising that we're not alone. We are guided if we show up and ask to be guided and show up for ourselves. We can't sit on the sofa smoking a cigarette, drinking another bottle of Chablis, expecting to be guided. No, we've got to show up, do our part. And I read them every single morning. And the I Ching is a bit of a party pooper, because just when you think, well, your ego thinks, yeah, I've got this, it'll be like, no, just be humble, steadfast, release all the excitement. And it's like it really teaches you to move into neutrality, which I love, because you want to be neutral. You want to hone this skill of neutrality towards your emotions, towards how you think, towards other people as well. Because when you can move through the world with more neutrality, and I'm not saying that you're flatlining and you're not feeling anything, but you're dissolving your triggers here. You're dissolving your wounds, and what you're doing is able to scar over your wounds so people can't press on them. I always say anything that gets you irritated or gets your back up, you're like, oh, there's a little wound there that I need to look at. There's some work there I need to do. So again, coming back to reading the I Ching, the Gene Keys, yeah, it keeps me on my path, keeps me reminding me, that I'm here to uphold my standards. So this passage that I'm just going to read here, just one line, it's from the Gene Keys. That was the whole preamble to get to here. There's a space between vice and virtue. Oh my God, I'm sorry to stumble over my words. Let me do it again. There's a space between vice and virtue where the real art of living happens. Life is not about pushing harder, hustling. Gary Vee comes into mind, or all those online coaches like, do it now, come on, or anyone personal training. Sweat is what is sweat? You're fat crying? Like, what? Ridiculous. It's not about pushing harder or up or tightening the rules and regulations so you can't move. It's not about abandoning yourself to every impulse that comes your way. So when I say impulse, I'm like your thoughts, your emotions, your desires. We're going to have desires rolling through us all the time. Our job is not to get attached to all of them, but to watch them. And there will be some desires that we need to follow. This is the space between vice and virtue. And this is this rare balance. This is what I'm talking about. The one where you can only find when you're deeply rooted in yourself. Now, people will try and get here through using discipline. Underneath discipline is willpower, it's rules. It works for a while until it doesn't. See, what I found now, the way I'm living, is discipline is too rigid. Discipline, it comes from a part of us that says, I have to do this, I have to change. And the ego, do you remember when I said about living a beautiful life, being my best version, being my beautiful self, my best version? What I've found with all my experience working with clients is the ego loves to get really hooked on to discipline, and it finds it's another way to control us, to impose order against the chaos. There's always going to be chaos inside us and outside us. Our job is to be able to witness it all. And what happens is discipline willpower becomes quite brittle, and it will crack under pressure because it's not connected to this deeper self of who we are. So discipline has its part, but it will only get you so far. Discipline, it will teach you how to show up. It will teach you how to tolerate discomfort, but it's limited. It's like, I was trying to find an analogy for this, but it's like, I used to teach pole dancing years and years ago. And in that, I used to teach sensual dance and burlesque. I was a burlesque dancer. Don't go off at another track star, stay here. But when I was doing sensual dance, there's a real art to sensual dance, and there's a real art to pole dancing. And it's, you have to let your body go. You have to kind of surrender to the music, and you have to let your body kind of lead and flow. And then what starts to happen is the movements become easier, they become more fluid. Your body kind of, it moves through you. And when we start something, and when I used to watch all the women do the pole dancing, people are rigid. They hold on to the pole and they don't want to fall off. And so what happens when they do that? Everything hurts more and everything is a lot more difficult. All the spins are harder. In fact, you don't spin. You don't do anything because you're just holding on for dear life. So that's how kind of the analogy I want to use. It's like when we let go, and actually you can go and play around with this. When you finish listening to me, go and put some music on. Choose a real kind of slow, sensual track that speaks to you, and start moving around like this, like a robot. And then soften it and let the music enter your body. Let the music go. And then let the music move you. Completely different. You'll have a completely different experience. And this, when you allow, and this is what I'm saying, I haven't quite got onto it yet, but this is kind of devotional living. You're allowing life to come through you, and look, life's going to happen. Life's having, life's playing with you, and just, you got to let it, like, oh, okay, I'm going to go with this, rather than like trying to control it. And again, I'm no shade, like I still see my control freaks tendencies coming up, like perfectionism, but I know they're just parts of me. They're not all of me. And so this soulful place that's in my DNA of who I am, that's been calling me home since I've been 11. And before that, do you know what? I'm going to have a little cry. Before that, before I got to 11, I was already home. I remember the way I used to play as a child. I used to get rose petals and make perfume out of rose petals, and I used to dress my dollies, and I used to play outside, and I used to work. I was at home, and something happened along the lines. We're going into it here, but various things happened, and I don't think it was anything too terrible, if I'm honest, but it's just like a multitude of things happened where I was taught it wasn't okay to be me. And so like this reckless, oh my God, I'm just having a moment here. Just like realizing that. Just like, wow. I was home, and I've just had to. I've just had to spend all these years coming back. Damn life, and damn the experiences in it. But you know what? It's like that's honestly. Oh, hang on. Just realizing that. Because I was like, when I was talking to you a minute ago about that part, that 11 year, do you remember me talking to you when you were 11? I was like, why didn't they talk to me before I was 11? Because I was at home. So yes, this coming back home, it's like this raw reclamation. So let me go back. Let me go back and talk to you about discipline, devotion, right? Because where I'm taking you now in these episodes is a new way of living. So when you live solely by discipline and willpower, you will get caught in a loop of restriction and rebound. And I always say, like, you can restrict yourself so much, and it's like pulling an elastic band. You have restricted yourself with diet, with exercise, with I don't know. Being nice to people, being more pleasant, not swearing. But eventually there is a point where it all just goes tits up and you rebound back into who you are. And so, and that's the thing, it's like there's this part that demands change, and then there's a part that resists it. And this is the classic all or nothing. I definitely used to say I was all or nothing. And you will exhaust yourself trying to force your growth instead of inviting it in. And it's a completely different way of living. And this has been my main issue when I've been working with clients over the years, of teaching this concept to them, of really trying to explain it's not about a checklist. It's not something you do, you become it. And so my work now is for the clientele, for the woman that knows she's ready for this work. It's like and what I've learned through all my experiences, I cannot convince anyone to do this work. You can't get here before you're ready. And when you're ready, you know it. And so if I go back to that all or nothing, you'll have this belief in your head that you'll believe you'll always fail, but can start again. I'll fail, but I can start again. Oh, I can get going. And actually, I was cycling along the front the other day, and a woman said, I've met a couple of women, they follow me online, and one woman said to the other, oh, I need to stop smoking. And the other one said, I can always stop. It's easy. It's easy to stop. And I thought about that conversation. I was like, but you start again. But you start again. That's all or nothing. And my work is about staying with new habits and choices so they become you. It's not about this on, off, on, off. That is an exhausting way to live. I lived like that. And it will just keep you spinning in place, and it'll keep you believing that you can't change. You can't change because you keep doing the same bloody pattern. So devotion is different. Devotion, it's soul-led. It's deeper. It's the voice from your deeper self, from your unconscious wisdom, your authentic desire. And it says, I want to do this. I choose this way. Devotion comes from alignment with your true nature. Can we take a moment with that? Devotion comes from alignment with your true nature, not from what you think you should do, but from what your body and soul are calling from what your body, wisdom, and rhythm are calling from. It's an embodied practice. This is you doing things not to check them off and say, I've done it, but noticing when you do it, notice when you don't do it, and really noticing the nuances within that as well, because there will be discomfort. There will be times where you don't do it. It's how you hold yourself when you don't do it. It's listening to the rhythms of your nervous system, because this way of living is going to soothe your nervous system. That all or nothing, stop, start, restrict, release. My God, that is going to set your nervous system up to fight, flight, fawn, freeze all the time. We want a calm nervous system. We want to be in our parasympathetic nervous system. We think more clearly, we act more clearly, we come from our body, we stop reacting, we respond, our voice changes. We're just nicer to be around. We're just nicer to be around. And because we're nicer to be around, we're our most beautiful selves, we attract beautiful things and beautiful people into our lives. It's, as I said, it's listening to the rhythms of your nervous system, your inner landscape, and moving in harmony with that. This is coming from wholeness. This is not walking through the world and choosing this work because you believe you're broken. You're not broken. You may have wounds, but you're not broken. You're whole. And this work is about coming from this wholeness. This is where you choose to come from that wholeness and stop fighting yourself. You stop living on the edge of that rebellion, and collapse. And so when I go back to that all or nothing, you will activate that inner rebel of yours. I've had enough. We're not doing this. Fuck this. I talk from experience. I've been here. And so living in devotion, coming from a place of making choices as I choose this, I want this is good for me, this feels right, you build trust with yourself. And as you do that, you raise your standards, you raise your energetic frequency, and you hold all of this. You change who you are from the inside out. You deepen the relationship with yourself, which will naturally deepen every single relationship in your life. Discipline and willpower are tools. Devotion is a way of living. And for the unhurried woman, now, before I go on, the unhurried woman, let's talk about her. She leads from within and she refuses to rush. Write these dates down. 29th to the 31st of August, I'm running a online event, 3 days, 3 webinars. It's my gift to you, where you can come into this work deeper and experiencing my world, my wisdom, my ways. And it's a perfect opportunity for you to test everything out, to feel it, to try it all on. It's like we're going shopping for an amazing dress. I'm the amazing dress. And then you can choose whether the School of Devotional Living or private mentorship is right for you. 29th to 31st of August, The Unhurried Woman. See, this is an identity, and this identity is in you, and she's calling you home. The unhurried woman, she trusts herself enough to choose without force, without trying. How many women have I heard over the years? I'm trying. Don't try. Try means to force. Try means to cajole. Try, no. So whenever I say I'm trying, I'm like, oh no, oh no. There's a weird energy behind that. Lean back. Recalibrate. What do you want to do? And we're going to go all in, or we're all out, or we choose a different direction. Don't try. Don't try. Try means to force something that's not ready to move. Did you hear that? Trying means to force something that's not ready to move. The unhurried woman, she moves at her own rhythm. She lives in balance between softness and strength, vice, virtue, and between desire and discipline. The balance, the unhurried woman's magnetic. She's that radiant, alive woman. She's there. This is the invitation I extend through my work. As I've already said, I've done a beautiful plugs in between all of this. My book, My Wild Love Affair, The School of Devotional Living, we start September the 14th. The Unhurried Woman, my complimentary event coming 29th to the 31st of August. And indeed, private mentorship. Look at all these ways that you can make sweet magic with me. Look at all these ways. This calling home from within, listen to it and act upon it. Act upon it so your life rolls out. I think I was talking about this in last week's episode. What I'm doing now at 54, I'm 55 next year, is I'm setting myself up for my 6th decade. I'm getting ready to be in 60, to be in that decade. Everything I do now is getting me ready for my next decade. Do the work now. Come home to yourself. Listen to yourself. Create a life where you're connected to your body, your rhythm, your wisdom. Nearly forgot what it was then. Until next time, Take really good care, and maybe I'll see you on social media in devotion.